जू की जय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जय। नित्य प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जय। नित्य प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्य प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्य प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्य प्रविष्ट महाभागवत श्री गौक्षर बाबाजी महाराज की जय। नित्य प्रविष्ट श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नित्य प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपानुपर्य गुरु वर्ग की जय। सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंद दारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम आचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदात गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने श्रीश्रीमद्भक्तिवेदान्त नारायणीति नामिने। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तरभक्ताय नमो नमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुस्तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्णा पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना हृदन्तस्तो ह्यभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतम्। नष्टप्रयेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भगवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी। तवैवास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय राधे त्वां नायमां चरणान्तिकम्। भक्त्या विहीन अपराधलक्षाय क्षिप्ताष्टकामादितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वां शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम्। भज श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo, Raj Bhuvan Yadav ji, Pradyumna Prabhu, Mantramurti Mataji, Madhavi Didi, Champak Didi, Raseshwari Mataji, Gargraj ji, Indira Mataji. Pradyumna Prabhu, the answer is no, definitely not. Actually, Srila Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj, he went to Badger, I think it was in Badger, and the devotees that we had Gornitai deities there, um, and he told them to take the peacock feather off of our Mahaprabhu deity. But yeah, no, don't never put a peacock feather on Mahaprabhu. And I couldn't. No, I wouldn't. No, don't put peacock feather on either Gornitai or Nitai. I mean, all right. So I'll just read from this, and then we can this recap, and then we'll go. And then tomorrow is Srila Trivikram Goswami Maharaj's appearance day, so we'll read all about Srila. Right? Is it? No, it's no. It's the day after tomorrow. What's today? Oh yeah, okay. Tomorrow's Akadashi, and then the day after tomorrow is Srila Trivikram Goswami Maharaj. Okay. God's eagerness to glorify his devotees. Once a messenger came and informed Krishna that Jara sandha had captured 21,000 kings who were surrendered devotees of Krishna. Just then, Narad Muni came and informed Krishna that King Yudhishthira was seeking Krishna's permission and presence for performing the Rajasuya sacrifice. Omniscient asked Uddhav to determine which of the two matters should be attended to first. Knowing the heart of Krishna, Uddhav advised Krishna to go to King Yudhishthira, whose Rajasuya sacrifice would fulfill both the purposes eventually. Lord Krishna, because in order to perform the Rajasuya sacrifice, you have to defeat every king, everybody has to be accepts that you are the ruler. And so they would have to defeat Jara sandha automatically to be able to perform the Rajasuya sacrifice. Lord Krishna went to Indraprastha with his queens. To perform the Rajasuya sacrifice, Yudhishthira had sent his brothers to conquer various directions, who then brought back abundant wealth after defeating many kings, except Jara sandha. Thereafter, as per Krishna's plan, Bhima, Arjuna, and Krishna disguised themselves as Brahmins and went to the palace of Jara sandha, who was very devoted to the Brahminical class. Yeah, because it said that Jara sandha, he never denied the request of a Brahmin ever in his life. That was his firm vow to always fulfill whatever request any Brahmin would give him. So they flattered him and requested him to grant their desire. Although Jara sandha detected them as warriors, still he agreed. Then Krishna discarded his disguise and asked Jara sandha to fight him in a one-to-one combat. But Jara sandha refused, saying that Krishna was a coward who had once fled the battlefield. Remember, like in the I think it was the 18th battle of Jara sandha, Krishna and Balaram ran away from Jara sandha and went on the mountain, and then they burned the mountain. So yeah, he's like, no, you're a coward. And he considered Arjuna inferior in age and size, but considered Bhima a worthy opponent. All right, so anyways, this is what we're going to read about today. Okay, so let's go back to the library. Sārārtha-darśinī. Chapter 72, the slaying of the demon Jara sandha. Other the last verse. I'm just reading the last 3 verses of the previous chapter. Encouraged by her mother-in-law, Draupadi worshipped all of Lord Krishna's wives, including Rukmini, Satyabhama, Bhadra, Jambavati, Kalindi, Mitravinda, the descendant of Shibi, the chaste Nagnajiti, and the other queens of the Lord who were present. Draupadi honored them all with such gifts as clothing, flower garlands, and jewelry. King Yudhishthir arranged for Krishna's rest and saw to it that all who came along with him, namely his queens, soldiers, ministers, and secretaries, were comfortably situated. He arranged that they would experience a new feature of reception every day while staying as guests of the Pandavas. Yudhishthir arranged for Krishna's stay there in such a way that each day was a new experience. Desiring to please King Yudhishthir, the Lord resided at Indraprastha for several months. During his stay, he and Arjuna satisfied the fire god by offering him the Khandava forest, and they saved Maya Danava, who then built King Yudhishthir a celestial assembly hall. It's called the Sudharma, right? The Lord also took the opportunity to go riding in his chariot in the company of Arjuna, surrounded of soldiers. So, chapter 72, the slaying of the demon Jara sandha. Shri Shuka Uvacha Ekada tu sabha madhya astito munibhirvrita brahmanai kshatriyar vashyar bhratribhishcha yudhishthira acharyai kulavridhaischa gyati sambandhi bandhavai Shrinvatang eva chaitesham abhashyedam uvachaha. Sri Shukadev Goswami said, one day, as King Yudhishthir sat in the royal assembly surrounded by eminent sages, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, and also by his brothers, spiritual masters, family elders, blood relations, in-laws, and friends, he addressed Lord Krishna as everyone listened. Sārārtha-darśinī commentary by Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura. In this chapter, Krishna approves of Yudhishthir's plans and deliberately taking his permission has built Jara sandha. After sitting properly, Yudhishthir inquired from Krishna while others listened. The locative case is used for the listeners to emphasize that Yudhishthir was absorbed in speaking to Krishna. Shri Yudhishthir Uvacha Pratu Rajendra Govinda Rajasuyena Pavani Yakshe Vibhuti Yakshe Vibhavatas Tatsampadayana Prabho. Shri Yudhishthir said, O Govinda, I desire to worship your auspicious, opulent expansions by the Rajasuya sacrifice, the king of Vedic ceremonies. Please make our endeavor a success, my lord. Commentary. Yudhishthir, I want to worship your opulent expansions in this world, like the demigods and other empowered beings, your vibhutis. This statement hints that Yudhishthir is exclusively devoted to Krishna, just like the great king Bharat. The word pavani, purifying, means that by seeing Krishna, the demigods and sages being worshipped in the sacrifice will become purified. Yudhishthir implies by this that the Rajasuya should be performed so that they too become all successful. Tvat praduke aviratang. Oh, sorry. 1 second. Tvat paduke aviratam pariyeti Dhyayantya bhadra nashane. Sorry. Dhyayantya bhadra nashane shuchayo grananti vindanti te kamalana bhavapavargam asha sate yadita ashisha ishananye. Purified persons who constantly serve, meditate upon, and glorify your shoes, which destroy everything inauspicious, are sure to those people they are sure to obtain freedom from material existence, O lotus-naveled one. Even if they desire something in this world, they obtain it, whereas others, those who do not take shelter of you, are never satisfied, O Lord. Commentary. Yudhishthira said, "We feel no great urgency to perform the Rajasuya sacrifice, nor do we have any personal interest, because by your boundless mercy, we are already seeing your lotus feet and relishing your personal association. But in this world, there are many evil persons who think who think that you are not the supreme Godhead, but an ordinary human being. Or else they find fault with you and even criticize your behavior. This is an arrow piercing our heart. Therefore, to extract this arrow from our heart, we must call to this place, on the pretext of the Rajasuya, Brahma, Shiva, and other demigods, and the wise brahmacharis residing in each of the 14 planetary systems. When such an exalted congregation has assembled, it will be incumbent upon them to arrange the Agra Puja, the first worship for the most worthy person present. Then, when they are directly shown that you, Sri Krishna, are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the arrow piercing my heart will be removed." Yudhishthira expresses this in 3 verses. Dividing Pari and Charanti is poetic license. Yudhishthira said, "Meditation on your slippers destroys all inauspiciousness, including that of ignorance. Those desiring material enjoyment obtain that by worshiping you, but not those who do not worship you. Both fruitive workers and pure devotees worship your lotus feet, but your devotees never desire material results. What to speak of us? Who have no material desires, having taken shelter of your feet and having taken shelter. Let me reread that. Sorry, guys. What to speak of us, who have no material desires, having taken shelter of your feet and directly seen you? Tadeva deva bhavatascharanaravinda sevanubhavamiha pashyatu loka esha ye tvam bhajanti na bhajantyuta vo bhayesham nishtam pradarshaya vibho guru srinjayanam." Therefore, O Lord of Lords, let the people of this world see the power of devotional service rendered to your lotus feet. Please show them, O Almighty One, the position of those Kurus and Srinjayas who worship you, and the position of those who do not. Commentary. Yudhishthira said, "Therefore, when your status as a supreme Godhead has been established by the distinguished assembly headed by Brahma, the people of the earth will understand the power of serving your lotus feet. Then, to dispel their illusion, please show the positions of those Kurus and Srinjayas who worship you as God, and those who do not worship you, thinking you to be a human being. If you give your consent, this will be shown at the proposed sacrifice." Na brahmana swaparabhedamatistavā syat sarvatmana samadrisha swaksukhanubhute Sansevatam surastaror ivate prasadha sevanurupamudayo naviparyayo vatra. Within your minds, there can be no such differentiation as this is mine and that is others, because you are the supreme absolute truth, the soul of all beings, always equipoised and enjoying transcendental happiness within yourself. Just like the heavenly desire tree, you bless all who properly worship you, granting their desired fruits in proportion to the service they render you. There is nothing wrong in this. Commentary. If Krishna were to ask, "But will I not be displaying malice if I show the superiority of those who are favorable to me and the inferiority of those who are against me?" In this verse, Yudhishthira replies, "You do not have a mentality of prejudice, distinguishing on the basis of my side and the other side. Since you are the completely pure absolute truth. Moreover, as the supersoul dwelling in Moreover, as a supersoul dwelling within all living entities, you engage them all in their particular actions according to the endless flow of their karma. You alone are the supreme controller, and without partiality, you give them good or bad results suitable to their acts. Since you relish the greatest joy within yourself, you have nothing to gain or lose in relation to conditioned souls. Rather, you reciprocate with them according to how they approach you." Krishna. But then who are the recipients of my qualities but then who are the recipients of my qualities of compassion and generosity? Yudhishthir. You show compassion to those who worship you with their hearts. By cutting the bondage of their karma and giving them everything, even your own self, you show your generosity. Krishna. But then do I not show some prejudice there? Yudhishthir. You are just like the desire tree, which bestows its fruits upon those who take shelter of it, without considering one's faults or merits. You also show mercy to anyone who serves you. Thus, even though you remain impartial, you especially favor your devotee, being controlled by his affection. As one is respectively disposed in favorable or unfavorable ways towards you, you respond favorably or unfavorably toward him. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Let me just check everything's running okay. Looks like it. Samyak vyavasitam rajan bhavata shatrukarshana kalyani yenate kirtir lokananu bhavishyati. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Your decision is perfect, O King, and thus your noble fame will spread to all the worlds, O tormentor of your enemies." Commentary. Shri Krishna said, "O great cloud showering the nectar of my glories, O King, certainly you have my permission to perform the sacrifice." Krishna says this in the mood of being a normal human being. By addressing King Yudhishthir as Shatru Karshana, tormentor of enemies, Krishna is imparting to him the potency to conquer all the enemy kings and become world famous. Rishinam Pitridevanam Suhridam Apina Prabho Sarvesham Apibhutanam Ipsita Kraturadayam. Indeed, my Lord, for the great sages, the forefathers, and the demigods, for our well-wishing friends, and indeed for all living beings, the performance of this king of Vedic sacrifices is desirable. Vejitya nripatin sarvan kritva cha jagatim vashe sambhritya sarva sambharan aharasva mahakratum. First, conqueror of all kings, bring the earth under your control and collect all the required paraphernalia. Then execute this great sacrifice. Krishna said, "What do I or anyone else need to do in this connection, since you yourself can easily arrange everything for the Rajasuya? After collecting the items, you can perform the sacrifice." Ete te bhrataro rajaha lokapalangsha sambhava jitosmatma vatatehang durjayo yo kritatmabhi. These brothers of yours, O king, have taken birth as partial expansions of the demigods ruling various planets. And you yourself are so self-controlled that you have conquered even me, who am unconquerable for those who cannot control their senses. Commentary. Atmavata means who has conquered his senses. Or else it means, for whom I myself am always present as his all in all. Thus, Krishna is saying, by such a person I have been conquered and brought under his control. I cannot be conquered by those who have not controlled their senses. Na kaschin matparam loke tejasa yashasa shriya vibhuti bhir vabhi bhaver devopi kim upartiva. No one in this world, even a demigod, what to speak of an earthly king, can defeat my devotee with his strength, beauty, fame, or riches. Shri Krishna said, with great confidence, I declare that you should not fear defeat by the other side. Even if he is lacking some power, even if he is lacking some power, my devotee cannot be conquered by anyone. What then to speak of you? Shri Shuka Uvacha Nishamya Bhagavad Gitam Pritapula Mukam Bhuja Bratrin Digvijaye Yungta Vishnu Tejo Pabrimhitam. Shukadev Goswami said, upon hearing these words sung by the Supreme Lord, King Yudhishthira became joyful, and his face blossomed like a lotus. Thus he sent forth his brothers, who were empowered with Lord Vishnu's potency to conquer all directions. Commentary. The sandhi of Teja and Upabhrimitam, which is potency and fortified, is poetic license. Otherwise, the word could be taken as Teja, in which case there would be normal sandhi according to rule. Sandhi is when you combine two words together. Sahadevam Dakshiyanam Adisha. No. Oh God, I don't know the meter for this one. No, I think it's at 1.5 verses. Sahadevam Dakshinasyam Adishat Sahasrinjayai Deshi Prati Chamna Kulam Udicham Savyasachinam Pratyam Vrikodaram Matsyai Kekayai Sahamatrakai. He sent Sahadev to the south with the Nakula to the west with the Matsyas, Arjuna to the north with the Kekayas, and Bhima to the east with the Madrakas. Commentary. The connection of Nakula with Matsyas as their helpers follows the principle of one group of warriors with each brother. Wait, I didn't get that. The connection of Nakula with the Matsyas as their helpers follows the principles of one group of warriors with each brother. Okay, I got it. Even though there are two clans, the Kekayas and Madrakas mentioned in... there are two clans, the Kekayas and Madrakas, mentioned in the last line. Okay, so I guess one brother had the Kekayas and the other brother had the Madrakas. I said something wrong. Let me know. Vijitya nripam vira ajahrur digbhya ojasa ajata shatrave bhuri dravinam nripayakshate. After defeating many kings with their prowess, these heroic brothers brought back abundant wealth for Yudhishthira Maharaj, who was intent on performing the sacrifice, O king. Commentary. They brought back the wealth and gave it to Yudhishthira. Shrutva jitam Jara sandham nripater dhyayato hari aho payam tamevadya uddhavo yam uvachaha. When King Yudhishthira heard that Jara sandha remained undefeated, he set to pondering, and then the primeval lord Hari told him the means Uddhava described for defeating Jara sandha. Commentary. Hari, The original Lord told him the means of conquering Jara sandha. Bhīmasenorjuna Krishna Brahmalinga Dharastaraya Jagmor Giri Vrajam Tata Brihadrata Sutoyata. Thus, Bhimasen, Arjuna, and Krishna disguised themselves as Brahmins and went to Giri Vraja, my dear king, where the son of Brihadrata, was to be found. So Bhimsen, Arjuna, and Krishna went to Jara sandha disguised as Brahmins. Te gatvatitya velayam griheshu grihamedhinam brahmanyam brahmanyam samayacheran rajanya brahmalingina. Disguised as Brahmins, the royal warriors approached Jarasandha at home during the appointed hour for receiving guests. They submitted their entreaty to that dutiful householder who is especially respectful to the Brahminical class. Commentary. They begged from Jarasandha at that time meant for ritual hospitality. Rajan Vidyatitin Praptan Artino Duramagatan Tanna Prayacha Bhadrangte Yadvayam Kamayamahe. Krishna, Arjuna, and Bhima said, O king, know us to be needy guests who have come to you from afar. We wish all good unto you. Please grant us whatever we desire. Kim durmarsham titikshunan, kim akaryam asadhubhi, kim nadeyam vadayanam, kapara samadarshinam. What can the tolerant not bear? What will the wicked not do? What will the generous not give in charity? And who will those of equal vision see as an outsider? Commentary. Jarasandha might be thinking, what if you request my son, from whom separation would be intolerable? To this possible objection, Krishna and the Pandavas reply, nothing is intolerable for a tolerant person. We see the example of Dasharatha giving his son Ram to Viśvamitra. But if the householder refuses you, then what is the result? They reply, what cannot be done by one without principles? Similarly, Jarasandha could object. What if you ask me to give my body or my precious jewels or ornaments, which are meant to be given to my sons, not to ordinary beggars? To this they reply, for the generous, what is not to be donated in charity? In other words, everything is to be given. There are examples of such persons as Dadichi, who gave his own body when requested by the demigods. Jarasandha might also object that he could be giving in charity to his enemies. To this, his guests counter with the statement, Kapara samadarshinam. For those with equal vision, who is a stranger? Yo nityena sharirena, Yo nityena sharirena, satam keyam yasho dhruvam, nachinoti swayam kalpa, savachya shocha evasa. He indeed is to be censured, and pitied, who, though able to do so, fails to achieve with his temporary body the lasting fame glorified by great saints. Commentary. One is despicable if he does not gain fame with this temporary body. Harishchandra Ranti Deva Uchavritti Shibir Bali Vyadha Kapoto Bahavo Yadruvena Druvangata. Harishchandra, Rantidev, Uchavritti Mudgala, Shibi, Bali, the legendary hunter and pigeon, and many others have attained the permanent by means of the impermanent. Commentary. To pay off his debts to Vishwamitra, Harishchandra sold everything he had, including his wife and children. Yet even after attaining the status of a Chandala, he did not become discouraged. Thus he went to heaven together with all the inhabitants of Ayodhya. After going without even water for 48 days, Rantidev somehow obtained some food and water. But when some beggars suddenly appeared, he gave it all to them. In this way, Rantidev attained Brahmaloka. Mudgala followed the practice of gathering grains left behind in the fields after harvest. Yet still, he was hospitable toward uninvited guests, even after his family had been suffering in poverty for 6 months. Thus he also went to Brahmaloka. King Shibi attained heaven by giving his own flesh to a hawk in order to protect a pigeon who had taken shelter of him. Bali Maharaj gained the Lord's personal association by giving all his property to Vamandev when the Lord disguised himself as a dwarf Brahmin. A pigeon and his mate gave their own flesh to a hunter as a show of hospitality, and thus they were taken to heaven in a celestial airplane. Rising to the mode of goodness, the hunter understood their situation. He then became renounced, gave up hunting, and went off to perform severe austerities. Becoming freed of all sins, he was promoted to heaven after he burned to death in a forest fire. Thus, many personalities have attained enduring life on higher planets by sacrificing their temporary material bodies. Hare Krishna Shaji and Yashoda Didi. Shri Shuka Uvacha Swairar Akritivistangstu Prakoshtarjya Hatar Api Rajanya Bandham Vigyaya Drishta Purvam Achintayat. Shukadeva Goswami said, from the sound of their voices, physical stature and the marks of from the sounds of their voices, their physical stature, and the marks of bowstrings on their forearms, Jara sandha could tell that his guests were of the royal order. He began to think he had seen them somewhere. He began to think he had seen them somewhere before. Commentary. From the calluses on their forearms caused by drawing bowstrings, as well as their deep voices and strong statures, Jara sandha recognized them as kshatriyas, or rather low-class kshatriyas, since they were begging. Translation. Sorry. Oops, I accidentally went 2 pages. Sorry. So he thought that they were low-class kshatriyas since they were begging in the disguise of brahmanas. He had seen them before the Swayamvar of Draupadi. Rajanya bahavo bandavo hyete brahmalingani bibhrati tadani bhikshitam tebhya atmanam api dushjajam. Jarasandha thought, these are surely members of the royal order dressed as brahmanas. But still, I must grant their request for charity, even if they beg me for my own body. Balerno shruyate kirtir vitata tikshva kalmasha aishwaryar Brahmshitasyapi vipravyajena Vishnuna Shriyam Jihir Shatendrasya Vishnave Dvijarupine Jananapi Mahing Pradar Varyamano Pidaityarat. Indeed, the spotless glories of Bali Maharaj are heard throughout the world. Lord Vishnu, wishing to recover Indra's opulence from Bali, appeared before him in the guise of a Brahmin and made him fall from his powerful position. Though aware of the ruse and forbidden of his guru, Bali, king of the demons, still gave Vishnu the whole earth in charity. Commentary. But what is to be gained by giving charity to cheaters? This verse answers. Jara sandha thought, indeed, the fame of Bali, who lost everything to Vishnu disguised as a dwarf Brahmin, is heard and spread throughout the world. Na is sometimes used instead of nu. In that case, the meaning is not the fame of Bali heard and spread everywhere? Bali Maharaj gave the earth to Vamandev even though he knew he was Vishnu, and even though he was forbidden by Shukracharya. Jivata Brahmanarthaya Konvartha Kshatrabandhuna Dehena Patamanena Nehata Vipulam Yasha. What is the use of an unqualified Kshatriya who goes on living but fails to gain everlasting glory by working with his perishable body for the benefit of Brahmanas? Commentary. Jara sandha thought, of what use is the life of a fallen Kshatriya if he does not desire fame by donating his perishable body to the Brahmanas? Such a Kshatriya is useless. Ittudara mati praha Krishna Arjuna Vrikodaran He Vipravriyatang Kamo Tadamyatma Shiropiva. Shukadeva Goswami continued. Thus, making up his mind, the generous Jarasandha addressed Krishna, Arjuna, and Bhima. O learned Brahmins, choose whatever you wish. I will give it to you, even if it is my own head. Commentary. Thus considering, Jarasandha spoke. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Yudam no Dehi Rajendra Tvandvasho Yadimanyase Yudhartino Vayam Prapta Rajanya Nanyakankshina. The Supreme Lord said, O exalted King, give us battle in the form of a duel if you think it fitting. We are princes and have come to beg a fight. We have no other request to make of you. Asovriko dara parthas tasya bhratar juno hyayam anayor matulenayam. Anayor matuleyam mang krishnam janihite rupum. Over there is Bhima, son of Pritha, and this is his brother Arjuna. Know me to be their maternal cousin, Krishna, your enemy. Evam avedito raja jaha sochai smamagadha aha chamarshito manda yudham tarhi dadamiva. Shukadev Goswami continued. Thus challenged, Magadha Raj laughed out loud and contemptuously said, All right, you fools, I'll give you a fight. Commentary. Jarasandha laughed because he felt satisfied within by seeing the humiliation of his enemies who had come in the dress of Brahmanas. Jarasandha said, Oh, fools, you weaklings! Why should you fight at all? I will give you my head. Your bravery is already destroyed by your dressing as Brahmins begging charity. However, if you still have any courage, I will gladly fight with you. Saraswati, the goddess of learning, intends the phrase Amarshito Mandaha to read as Amarsito Mandaha, which means that Krishna and the Pandavas are amanda, never foolish. For that reason, they choose the best tactic for doing away. For that reason, they choose the best tactic for doing away once and for all with the cruel Jarasandha. Natvaya bhiruna yotsye yudiviklavate jasa maturam swapurim tyaktva samudram sharanam gata. But I will not fight with you, Krishna. For you are a coward. Your strength abandoned you in the midst of a battle, and you fled your own capital of Mathura to take shelter in the sea. Commentary. The actual meaning is, I will not fight with you. Oh, sorry. So the actual meaning is, I will not fight with you who are fearless and very strong, as my heart is now distressed. By your own will, you left Mathura and went to live in your house by the sea. Ayam tu vayasatulyo nati satvo name sama Arjuno na bhavedyodha bhimastulya balo mama. As for this one, Arjuna, he is not as old as I, nor is he very strong. Since he is no match for me, he should not be the contender. Bhima, however, is as strong as I am. Ityuktva bhimasenaya pradaya mahatim gadam dvitiyam swayamadaya nirjagama puradpahi. Having said this, Jara sandha offered Bhimasen a huge club, took up another himself, and went outside the city. Commentary. It is expected that I should satisfy you, my guest, so please accept this huge club. I will be successful in this fight, however, even with the smaller club. These words revealed Jarasandha's pride. Tata same kale viro samyukta vitaretaram Jagnatur Vajrakalpabhyam Gadabhyam Ranadurmado. The two heroes thus began battling each other on the level fighting grounds outside the city. Maddened with the fury of combat, they struck each other with their lightning bolt-like clubs. Commentary. In the fighting arena, they struck each other with clubs. Mandalani vichitrani savyam dakshinameva cha charato shushube yudham natayor iva rangino. As they skillfully circled left and right, like actors dancing on a stage, the fighters presented a magnificent spectacle. Commentary. They moved from left to right like actors dancing on a stage. Both fighters were fearless, and they were both fearless and steady, even in the rage of battle. Tatash chata chata shabdo. It made the sound chata chata. Tatash chata chata shabdo vajranishpesha sannibha gadayo kshiptayo rajan dantayor iva dantino. When Jarasandha's and Bhimasen's clubs loudly collided, going chata chata, O king, the sound was like the impact of the big tusks of two fighting elephants, or the crash of a thunderbolt in a flashing electrical storm. Like that. Chata chata is the onomatopoeic sounds clubs make when striking against each other. It was like the crackling of lightning bolts or the clashing sound of the tusks of fighting elephants. Devai gade bhuja jane no Devai gade bhuja jane javena nipatyamane anyonyatum shakati pada karoru jatrum churni babhuvaturupetya nyatarka shakhe samyudhyator dviradayor iva diptamandvyo. They swung their clubs at each other with such speed and force that as the clubs struck their shoulders, hips, feet, hands, thighs, and collarbones, the weapons were crushed and broken like branches of arca trees, with which two enraged elephants furiously attack each other. Whoa! They would break their clubs on each other's bodies. That's how tough their bodies were. Commentary. Their anger was totally inflamed. When the clubs contacted the opponent's shoulder or waist, they became crushed to powder. Itam tayor prahatayor gadayor nriviro. Oh, sorry. Itam tayor prahatayor gadayor nriviro Krudho swamushtiviraya sparashar apishtam. Shabdastayor praharator ibhayor ivasin. Nirghata vajra parushastalata tadanotha. Their clubs thus ruined, those great heroes among men angrily pummeled each other with their iron-hard fists. As they slapped each other, the sound resembled the crash of elephants, the sound of crash of elephants colliding or harsh thunderclaps. Commentary. After breaking their clubs, they pounded each other with their fists. Tayorevam praharato samashiksha balo jaso nirvishesham abhudyo yudhang akshina javayor nirpa. As they thus fought, this contest between opponents of equal training, strength, and stamina. Sorry, let me reread that. As they thus fought, this contest between opponents of equal training, strength, and stamina reached no conclusion, and so they kept on fighting, O king, without any let-up. Shatror janma mriti vidvan jivitam cha jara kritam partam apyayayan sena tejasa chintayadhari. Lord Krishna knew the secrets of his enemy Jarasandha's birth and death, and also how he had been given life by the demoness Jara. Considering all this, Lord Krishna imparted his special power to Bhima. Commentary. Krishna knew that Jara sandha was born in two pieces, and that he could be killed by separating the pieces. Krishna also knew that the witch named Jara had given Jara sandha life by joining the two pieces. Empowering Bhima with his own potency, Krishna thought how to inform Bhima that Jara sandha was joined in two parts. Sanchintari vadopayam Bhimasyamo gadarshana darshayam ashavitapam patayan eva sangyaya. Having determined how to kill the enemy, that lord of infallible vision made a sign to Bhima by tearing in half a branch of a tree. Commentary. Krishna took a branch in his hand with the vision of Bhima. Krishna took a branch in his hand within the vision of Bhima and made a gesture suggesting, just as I'm tearing apart this branch, so you should tear him apart. Eva here means Eva, certainly. Tarvigyaya mahasatvo Bhima praharatam vara Grihitva padayo shatrum patayam asabhutale. Understanding the sign, mighty Bhima, the best of fighters, seized his opponent by the feet and threw him to the ground. Ekam padam patakramya dorbhyam anyam pragrihyasa gurata patayamasa shakamiva mahagaja. Bhima pressed down on one leg with his foot while grabbing Jarasandha's other leg in his hands. And just as a great elephant might break the branch of a tree, Bhima tore Jarasandha apart from the anus upward. Yikes, that's pretty gruesome. Ekapadorvrishana kati prishta stanam shake ekabhavakshibru karne shakale dadrishu praja. The king's subjects then saw him lying in two separate pieces, each with a single leg, thigh, testicle, hip, shoulder, arm, eye, eyebrow, and ear, and with half a back and chest. Commentary. The citizens saw the two parts, each with one leg, one arm, and one ear. Oh, I always thought Jarasandha I didn't realize he was split in the middle. I thought he was split from the top bottom. Hahakaro mahanase nihate magadheshware pujayam asatur bhimam parirabhya jayat sorry jayachato jayachato. Understanding the sign, mighty Bhima, the best of fighters, seized his opponent by the feet and threw him to the ground. Sahadevam tatanayam Bhagavan bhuta bhavana abhyashinchar ameyatma magadhanam patim prabhu mochayam asarajanyan samruddha magadhenaye. The immeasurable supreme personality, the sustainer and benefactor of all living beings, coronated Jara sandha's son, Sahadev, as the new ruler of the Magadhas. The Lord then freed all the kings. The Lord then freed all. Thus ends the commentary on the 72nd chapter of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam for the pleasure of the devotees in accordance with the previous acharyas. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. I'm just saying in Theodore Mataji's comments that translation on text 45 was not correct. Okay, let's check it out on database.io. One second. 10th canto. Where are we? Okay. What chapter are we on? 72. Chapter 72. One second. I'll just open it up so we can read the right thing. Let's go to the very end. 45. Okay, let's read the proper translation. But the Sanskrit was proper, right? Yeah, I remember reading that. Hahakaro mahanasin nihate magadeshware pujayam asatur bhimam parirabhya jayachuto. So, with the death of the Lord of Magadha, a great cry of lamentation arose, while Arjuna and Krishna congratulated Bhima by embracing him. All right. And then the immeasurable supreme personality of Godhead, the sustainer and benefactor of all living beings, coronated Jara sandha's son Sahadev as the new ruler of the Magadhas, and the Lord then freed all the kings Jara sandha had imprisoned. All right, so that's all for today, and tomorrow we will read chapter 73. Lord Krishna blesses the liberated kings. No, not tomorrow. Sorry. No, we will read tomorrow. Yeah, because tomorrow's a Kadashi. Yeah, okay. Jai Shri Guru Garanga Gandhar Vikagiri Dhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishmar Bhaktivedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shri Gurudev ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishmar Bhaktivedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishmar Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitila Pravishta Vishnupara Shatara Shatashmad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Nitila Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Srila Gorkshara Swabji Maharaj ki jai. Nitila Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Ṭhākura ki jai. Nitila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupa Nugogoriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. Shri Jeev Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunath Shara Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Surup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जाय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदत्त गिरिराज महाराज की जाय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जाय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जाय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जाय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जाय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जाय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जाय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जाय। श्री विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर की जाय। सारथ-दर्शिनी कमेंटरी की जाय। श्री अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जाय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवश्च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रददेवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः। पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. And that's half of Jara sandha's his ear, his leg, and his arm there. Thanks, Sandita Mataji. I would so love to see that, like a really good, like if Hollywood were to do that, have him written pieces. Anyway, sorry. All right, see you all tomorrow. Jai Shri Radhe, Haribol. That was kind of fun though, wasn't it? All right, Haribol.